Big Drive Energy Thursday. We've got a lot to talk about in the golf world. Even though it's middle of November, Thanksgiving right around the corner, there's a lot going on. We're going to talk about Rory McIlroy winning the DP World Tour Race to Dubai final championship, even though he didn't win the last event. And I found a little, some numbers online. So I'm going to quiz Mitchell on his DP World Tour knowledge. Let's see how much he's really been paying attention because he's always, I watch the DP World Tour all the time. The RSM Classic and the PGA Tour's final event is finishing up today. Adam Schenk won this past week, and his bag is unbelievable. His bag is setting back time to our high school days. We're going to talk about Henrik Stenson returning to the DP World Tour from the Live Tour. Victor Perez doing the opposite, heading over to the Live Tour for this 2026 season. Dustin Johnson, sweaters on sale. Obviously, I mean, if you're going to charge $300 for a sweater. We've also got the sale of Top Golf, and we're going to do a special WTF Wednesday, even though it's Thursday, because my WTF Wednesday was the reason this pod is on Thursday. All right, let's tee it up. Big Drive Energy Thursday morning episode. Sun's outside on the couch, dialed in to give a mouse, if you give a mouse a cookie. We were playing blocks all morning, and the only thing that's annoying is I actually enjoy playing some of these games with him, like stacking these blocks, but I get this sick tower going, and then he would be like, Sawyer, have it. And then he would just take my tower from me and start building on top of it. So it's just in that mode where, he wants it. You just kind of, all right, I guess all this work I just put in this tower, you can just take over.
Yeah, I mean, it's not your blocks to play with, so I think you just kind of let him do his thing. What do you got there? What's the drink of choice this morning?
So I'm going to tell you about my Starbucks scenario. I get Starbucks for Kylie and I a couple times a week at this point. And there's one right next to my gym. I pre-order it from the gym and then go pick it up because I
was going to say, so you drive to the Starbucks by the gym and then go home.
No. I go to the gym and then pre-order my Starbucks, usually from the sauna. And then I go pick it up by the time I'm done. And it's nice because I don't have to walk. I walk in, but I don't have to wait for them to make it, do all the ordering and all that stuff. Order it online.
The only pushback I have on that, though, is like depending on what you order. If you order something with cold foam, then the foam sucks by the end of it. Like when you go actually to pick it up, I just kind of like it being fresh. I just like it. It's like door dashing food versus like getting it, like picking it up or getting it at the restaurant. Like it always just feels like it's not quite the same.
No, I feel that. But what I got today is I just got the peach green tea. Venti peach green tea with light ice, because then when I get home, I fill it up more and more with water and have like a drink for the whole morning essentially. But I'll tell you what, I get Kylie the same. She gets her vanilla latte, same. It's cold enough now that warm drinks are kind of back in season a little bit. But I was getting coffee for myself, or I love the ginger red flavoring and the peppermint mocha and all these things. But when you order on the app, you can see how much sugar is in those. And it just makes me cringe because I've done a couple of the whole 30 no sugar diet for 30 days, etc. And it makes you feel so good. But then it makes me a little bit more sugar conscious on certain things, especially drinks. I won't say I'm fully sugar.
How much sugar is in that peach drink you got there?
The green tea is like 9 grams, 8 grams because it's tea. Okay. It's a green tea with.
I know, but it's still got peach flavoring in it. Like I actually was going to bring this up with you because I've been struggling with caffeine lately because like too much caffeine just throws my stomach. Like I know you love caffeine, but I've just been cooling it on the caffeine with, all the nicotine I have. So been cooling it on the coffee. So yesterday I stopped at Starbucks. I was like in the same shopping center and I tried a gingerbread chai and that shit was gas. That was very good. Like, I really am not exactly sure what chai is, but
I'm not either. I
think
love it though.
I think it's like it's actually tea. Like it's from like black tea. So the caffeine is only like 50 to 70 grams per drink versus coffee that can be like 120 to 140. And I can use a little caffeine, but I'm already kind of amped up enough when I wake up and just start firing zins and down my suck hole first thing in the morning. So I don't really need that much more caffeine. And I was like, I might be like on a chai kick. And it's kind of got that like spice to it. Why is it spicy? I like this, like the spice to it. I don't know exactly what that is.
Here's the AI overviews. Chai is a spiced black tea beverage originating from India, often prepared with milk and sweeteners. The term chai simply means tea, and the most common variation, masala chai, translates to spiced tea and is a blend of ingredients like cardamom, ginger, cloves, cinnamon, and black pepper. So there you go. So
yeah,
and that's not a caffeinated drink then, is it? A chai is generally not caffeinated because black tea is not caffeinated.
Yeah, it is.
Are you sure about that?
All tea has natural caffeine. Green tea has more caffeine, but funny enough, Missy's financial advisor is Indian, for lack of a better term. I don't know. Like, I'm not trying to be a dick, but he's an Indian man. And he gives her every year, it's like they make their own homemade chai, like little mix. And he gives her like a little thing of it. And I have yet to try it, but I actually might dip into that now. And also, where do you stand on putting milk in tea? Because that's a very English thing. Like I kind of have to get over the hump. I have no problem, obviously, putting cream or half and half, whatever, in coffee. But then I look at tea and I'm like, putting milk in that just, it feels like oil and water. Like it feels like too opposite for some reason. But I would like, maybe I'll become a tea guy. I'll start my morning with a cup of a spot of tea and a crumpet, mate. I can't do the coffee that much anymore. It just fucking sends me into a tailspin.
Well, ironically, while we're on the conversation of cutting out caffeine, I have been actually doing the same. And normally when I go work out in the mornings, I hit, pre-workout lit.
Yeah, you're shaking like a fucking leaf when you walk into that door. You can't
even 250 milligrams of caffeine or whatever it is. And actually the last 2 days, the last two workouts, I've been like, all right, because you remember Omar Bolden from the Broncos?
Yeah.
He's like a super health nut now. And I think I follow him, but I just see a couple of his tweets and he's like, stop starting your day with caffeine. Just try drinking water and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you know what? Maybe I'll give this a shot, because the last 2 days I've actually planned on not going to the gym at 5. But yesterday I woke up at 4:57 on my own. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go. And this morning I woke up at 5:03 on my own. So I was like, cool, I'm going to go. And I didn't set an alarm. Normally my alarm goes off at like 4:45. So then I have the same routine of getting up, making this pre-workout and drinking that and like being completely juiced up. But I've like, all right, I'm going to just wake up. I'm going to fill a whole cup full of water. I'm going to drink it all the way from the morning all the way to the gym. And I'm going to work out and hope that my tunes, my 2019 playlist that I've rediscovered, can get me enough juice to work out. And it's actually been nice. Like I haven't felt like, I needed this jolt, or I've like my workouts have been sluggish or anything like that. And
maybe you won't have like the big crash in the afternoon now, because that's, I know what you deal with. Like after you eat lunch, you're just cooked.
Yeah, and so I'm going to see now how that relays the rest of my day and makes it, if I don't have this crap. But like I've also been going to bed stupid early. Last night I watched the Nuggets game and fell asleep in the fourth quarter, and I woke up, the game was over. Yeah, I woke up, the game was over at 8:30. I'm awake. Kylie's asleep on the couch, and I'm like, we should just go to bed at this point. like I don't know. I go to bed so early that whenever I tell people when I wake up, they're like, oh, you're a fucking lunatic. And I'm like, dude, I don't stay up. If I stayed up till 10:30, 11, 12, midnight every single night, waking up at 4:45 is clinically insane. But when you go to bed at borderline 8, 9 o'clock, especially now that it's so dark so early, by 9 o'clock, unless there's a sporting event on one of our teams, I could care less if I'm fucking asleep by 9 o'clock.
I feel that. I actually last night, I know it's super pertinent information, but I almost fell asleep exactly at midnight and woke up exactly like at 8 a.m. Like that was, I almost got exactly 8 hours, give or take a few minutes, but that is pretty much like my sweet spot. I could probably sleep a little longer, but it depends on the day. Before we get into other golf things, I want to talk quickly about your Instagram post that was mentioned on Altitude and just the golden era of Denver sports. Do you think you jinxed the Nuggets? Because then they went and lost to I wouldn't say a bad Bulls team, but it definitely, we got a little high. And to be fair, I think the Nuggets, Broncos, and Avs records, like having won this many games out of this many games, I can find it, but it's only been done one other time in sports history, and it was Philadelphia in 1980. So I think winning percentage wise, the Nuggets, the Avs, and the Broncos have the highest winning percentage. I sent it to Missy because she is obviously an Eagles fan. I just want to look real quick. Yes. Cities and metro areas to have the following in the same calendar year: NFL team to win 9 plus of first 11, NBA team to win 10 of first 12, NHL team to win 13 of first 19, Denver in 2025, and Philadelphia in 1980, and that's it.
It's crazy.
It is. And it's an all-time run.
The funny thing about that post is I was almost going to wait and take more pictures from that Nuggets Bulls game and post it on Tuesday. And then I'm glad now that happened. I'm glad I didn't. And that was one of the games where we actually stayed. Every Nuggets game we've been to, whether it's just me and my kid or me and Kylie, we have left middle of the fourth quarter. They're up 12, 15, 18. It's a blowout. Joker's sitting the rest of the game. It's like, all right, let's beat the traffic and get out of here. Monday night was the first night in Ball Arena, I think this season, whether it's Avs or Nuggets, that I've stayed the entirety of the game to watch like an actual close game, and they lose. And it was terrible. And leaving was terrible. It was just not, Sawyer didn't really quite understand. He still had a great time, which is all that really matters to me anymore. But yeah, it was pretty unfortunate that they lost that game and I had to stay. That if they would have won, staying for the whole thing would have been worth it. But in hindsight, them losing the game, I wish I would have left in the middle of the third quarter or the middle of the fourth quarter and just said, it's in God's hands now. If they win or lose, I won't be there to see it.
It's like playing blackjack. You either got to hit on 16 all the time or stay. Like you can't pick and choose. You either got to leave early all the time or stay all the time. Like you got to pick one. But speaking of losing, we haven't really talked about our pick six yet this year, which, well, we have, but not as regularly as we did. I basically went rogue this week. We had picks made because we forgot to make our picks like 3 weeks ago, and I was fucking pissed about it. I was like, what? Can't win if you don't try. I mean, the chances of us going 6-0 are pretty low. But so we've been locking in picks like early in the week and then just like playing with them from there. I went rogue Sunday morning and ended up 5-1 on a pot that was like doubled. I think it was like a $1,500 pot. And I was so irate about the Bengals just getting boat raced by the Steelers. And somehow every other game fell our way. The Seahawks covered 2.5, which it didn't matter because the Bengals had already lost. But I was like, oh, I looked because I wanted to feel like better about it. And I'm like, the Seahawks fucking backdoor covered that. Like we had hit every single game except for the Bengals. And I really thought they would have more against a division like opponent. What did they lose by like 25? They didn't even fucking sniff it. It was disgusting.
Well, and the crazy thing is Aaron Rodgers came out of the game too. Mason Rudolph came in and ended up, I didn't watch any of that game. I was pretty busy Sunday morning, so I didn't get to watch much of the morning games, but I felt pretty confident in any game in the AFC North. If you're getting more than 3.5 points, I feel like you always take the underdog. Those games should always be pretty close, even if a team is terrible like the Bengals this year or the Browns, and they're playing a good Steelers team or a good Ravens team. I feel like those games are just always intense. And I looked at that score and I was like, oh my God. But yeah, like you said, it feels like no matter what at, I'm going to say 11 a.m. Or 1 p.m. in Denver time. For you, it's 3 p.m. But that last hour of those morning games.
Oh, I thought you were talking about right now. I'm like, it is not 3 p.m. here, right? Okay.
No, at 3 p.m., basically the witching hour of the beginning of the NFL Sunday is if you have 3 or 4 picks that are good, they're most likely not going to end up good. It's crazy how that flips, because I think the one week that we went either 4-2 or 5-1 a couple weeks ago, we had nothing basically good for a while. And then the Texans somehow end up coming back and covering. Like a few of those games just flip so quickly.
And then like earlier in the season, we had in the early slate, I think we had 5 games and they legit were 5-0, like halfway through the third quarter. And I think they ended up like 2-3. So it truly is like, if you feel good about it at like through the first half into the third quarter, that's not a good sign. Like you should, unless a team is getting blown out, you should like the fact that you're like kind of in some punchy games. We down by a score, down by 3, down by 5, whatever. Because when we feel good about it, and that's the sad part, is that Bengals pick was like a no doubter. That was like, oh, I'm taking the Bengals plus the points in Pittsburgh, like 5.5. That's a division game. Mike Tomlin, just a tale as old as time, doesn't cover the spreads at home as a favorite, always covers as a dog. Like that is his tenure. It couldn't have drawn it up any better for us. And then they go get blown out like that. So actually, I want to bring this up with you because I listened to the Ryan Russillo podcast, and I think he's got some good NBA takes and NFL. Like he actually watches the games. He doesn't just spew bullshit like Stephen A. Smith saying Jaquan McMillan may have not been on the field if it wasn't for Pat Surtain. Like Jaquan McMillan is on the field all the time. Stephen A. Smith gets a fucking cliff notes of the game of each game in his notes. Like he's a fucking joke. So Russillo actually watches games and analyzes shit. But he did a segment yesterday with quarterbacks as NBA players. And I thought that was really good. So I'm trying to think of the one that he had Joe Burrow as not Joel Embiid, but like, and then he goes, I can't say anyone's Joel Embiid because that's disrespectful to any NFL quarterback. But just like a guy that feels like so basically what I'm asking you, do you think Joe Burrow is like injury prone, or do you think he just has never had an offensive line?
Dude, I struggle with this question because we had the 5th leading rusher in the NFL and J.K. Dobbins on the Broncos, and everybody's like, oh, there's your freak injuries. If you tear your ACL 2 different times and now get a Liz Frank injury, to me there's a freak injury, and then there's, oh, it happened again. And then after that second time, if you get a season-ending injury, you're injury prone.
Like
and
Michael Penix right now. Like
Michael Penix is
out.
done.
He's been out 5 of 8 years of football that he's played, like season-ending injury.
Yeah, after your third, or after your second, I should say, you get another season-ending injury after 2, and you're injury prone. And yes, Joe Burrow hasn't had the greatest offensive line and made a Super Bowl one year, but at the same time, it's just not saying that he couldn't be better with a better offensive line or stay healthy consistently, but he's injury prone 100%. And I just draw a hard line with that. And it's not always necessarily a fair take to those guys that get hurt. And they, there's a situation going on outside.
Is mom there yet? Or is she?
I think so. Yeah. I think
the Eagles landed. So. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was wondering, I was like, is that knocking on like the building or what's going on here?
Somebody painting your windows or washing your windows again.
Yeah. No shit.
But yeah, I after 3 on the 3rd, you're an injury prone player and you just have to take that with a grain of salt. And I even said going into the season, it does suck that now we're here with J.K. Dobbins for sure. But I said going into the season, you're going to get 10 good games out of him. I just hope that it was maybe, the first 3 or 4, And then, yeah, the last 10 would have been great, but then it would have been training camp injury and I would have been crashing out already. But I was hoping it was like week 3 or 4 injury. He's out for weeks 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, then comes back and isn't the best 11, 12. But then by the end of the season run, he's back in full form and ramping up to the playoffs. So, yeah, I think Joe Burrow at this point, to me, I wouldn't count on him playing another full season in the NFL until I'm proven wrong.
That's such a bummer because I truly think when he's on his game, he's like top 5 in the league for sure. He's one of the most fun quarterbacks to watch. One last football thing because we haven't really talked about it. The Broncos, just the national media, absolute 180 that they've done on Bo Nix and the Broncos. Oh, they win ugly. Oh, like Colin Cowherd, and I actually like Cowherd. He actually yesterday just picked us to go to the Super Bowl against the Rams. But that just goes to show you how much of a week-to-week league it is. When 2 weeks ago he was saying, I have it on good authority that, or not necessarily a source, but it feels like Colin Cowherd, he's boys with Sean Payton, so it feels like he's kind of somewhat of a mouthpiece. And I think they talked about this on Altitude, but when Colin Cowherd says that Sean Payton would consider drafting a quarterback, I don't think it comes like without merit. And maybe he was just trying to headline grab. I don't know. But I feel like he's not just saying that shit willy-nilly because he does know Sean Payton very well. And now it's like, oh, Bo Nix is the clutchest fourth quarter quarterback. And like, we've known that all season, but he hasn't looked great for the first 3 quarters. He looked really good on Sunday, all things considered. Our boy Eric Tuttle needs to give him a fucking break because he expects perfection on a lot of these deep balls. I'm like, dude, he hit what, 3 or 4 balls over 30 yards this last week. Like, I'm not going to say he needs to be leading these guys exactly in stride, put it on their hands. Like, they're NFL wide receivers. They need to go up and catch the fucking football. But he looked much, much better. And I feel like the entire perspective of the Denver Broncos in the national media's eyes has completely changed.
Yeah, beating a Chiefs team when I'll be honest, I didn't give us that much of a chance going into that game because when you have a desperate Chiefs and a desperate Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid off a bye week, I was shocked that we played as well as we did. And the defense, shout out to our boy Justin Sternad, stepping in there, taking the dot, calling the defense. They basically shut down. I mean, Kelsey had a good game. He had some of those like hike the ball, run for 3 yards forwards, turn around, and then catch it, and then go between
run for 12 more yards.
Yeah, he had a few of those, but overall, they missed on a few deep balls early. Then there's some crazy pass interference calls that we won't get into. But overall, we held their offense down long enough to, the most shocking drive of the entire game for me was when the Chiefs got the ball back with like 4.5 minutes left. And I'm like, oh, well, we know how this fucking movie ends. And I think I'm somewhere in between. The Broncos are really good and they're getting lucky, or they're just playing with their food all these games and they're not actually a dominant team. But what it's created, whether it's playing the shitty Jets, whether it's beating the shitty Raiders close, all these teams that they've beat really close, is they found out how to win. They found out how to win close games, whether they're playing the worst team in the league, it seems like, or the best team in the league. I feel when we get to the fourth quarter, like we are the team that people are like, oh, fuck, we got into a dogfight with the Broncos in the fourth quarter. We're fucked. And I feel like that's what they've created now. They've created not necessarily a dominant overall football team, but they've created a mindset of we are the ones that know how to win. And they've done this in literally 2 years. 3 years ago, we had no Bo Nix. We had Sean Payton, Russell Wilson. We were just in the middle of this bullshit, no clue where we were going with the team. They built a good defense. They drafted a rookie quarterback. They won 10 games last year, which was insane at the time. And now, fuck, they fucking may win 16. I'm not joking. Like, well, they may win.
They're not going to win 6. I think if we win
15. Sorry, well, yeah. 18-week season. We have 2 losses, 17 actual games though. But they may win they may be 14-3 by the time.
I think we're going to win like 13 games. I think 13 is the number. But I will say that somewhat credit to me. I know we have our Broncos rose-colored glasses on, or sometimes the opposite, where we know what this team is capable or not capable of. But I was like, if we weren't fans of the Broncos plus 3.5 at home against the Chiefs, looking the way they've looked, obviously hindsight's 2020, but that's gambling, like that's. And I was like, I take away our love for the Broncos. That is the smart play. It's a 8-2 team getting 3.5 against a 5-4 team. Erase all the previous history because it's a new year every year, unfortunately, or fortunately for us. But I wish I would have taken the Broncos plus the points instead of the Bengals. That would have been our 6-0 week, and we'd be making it rain with a bunch of $5 bills right now. But yeah, the Broncos just look like a fucking wagon, and they're just so much fun to watch. And I really hope that RJ Harvey can get going. They need to run Jaleel McLaughlin more. McLaughlin. Is it McLaugh or McLaugh? You tell me. Why are you fucking laughing? Why is McLaugh so funny? That McLaughlin.
Sounds like you got something in your throat, basically.
Sarah McLaughlin. Yeah, no, McLaughlin. Okay. I don't know why that's an F there, but I just feel like there's at no point should Tyler Bidet be in the football game at any point. He's fucking hot garbo. So if we can figure out some way to run the football, this upcoming slate of games is fucking electric. The Colts half a year, and there's no stopping in sight. Like, he's got a kid on the way and all this, and he's like, yeah, I'm like, golf is, and luckily his job allows him to do that. But we were just talking about, because he's been really struggling off the tee, but his irons have improved greatly, like massively. And he's like, and truly it depends on your game, because for a guy like him that hits it so far, if he could hit driver well consistently and keep it in play, then his score would probably go down 7 or 8 shots. But, for your typical golfer that's hitting it 240, 230 yards off the tee, yeah, straightening it out a bit would help and getting a little more consistent. But ultimately, that's not going to shave 10 to 12 strokes off your game. You know what I mean? Like, and that's where everybody's game is different, but 100%, all aspects. And another thing we discussed is just like, golf is like, your golf swing is like your car. It requires constant maintenance, even when you don't need something, like even when you're like, oh, I feel like my irons are dialed in, you still need to practice your irons, because that can come and go as quickly, as one or the other happens. You can feel like you have it for 2 weeks and then it disappears. And then we also got into the discussion of like how often you feel like you have everything clicking during a round, and truly, like, to have everything clicking off the tee, in the fairway, around the greens, and on the greens, I would say is maybe like around a year, if that, maybe once every like 2 years. It just very rarely happens, even for the highest level of players. So it's like the rising tide lifts all ships mantra, where if you get better at one thing, you're going to get better at other things. Like, if you focus too much on one part of practicing, like just off the tee or just your wedges, or what, I take that back. The wedges everyone could improve on, and nobody's good enough there for, whatever level you're at. You could definitely shave strokes off your game, getting better with your wedges. But when people just grind on driver all the time, it's like, you still have to hit the ball in the fairway, and vice versa. So there's just so many aspects to it, like you said, that you can't pigeonhole yourself to thinking that one thing is going to improve your game. Like, that's just, it's the harsh truth of it. It's like, you're trying to lose weight and everyone's like, oh, we have this magical weight loss cure. It's like, no, you have to eat less calories and actually get out and move and exercise. Like, there's no easy way. You can't fool golf. Like, nobody plays golf for like a year and they're like, oh yeah, I got it. Like, that's all I need. It is truly the one game that I feel like is the hardest to get good at in a short period of time. Like, it just flat out doesn't really happen.
Yeah, exactly. You can't fool golf. I like that. That's you have to keep working at it. And like you said, you have to keep working at every part of it, because you can say that you're working on your chipping, but then if you start hitting your irons bad or you start putting bad, it doesn't matter how good your chipping's gotten. You have to have it all kind of going together. And even in the rounds where you score really well, sometimes you still don't have one of those things. Most of the times, if you asked PGA Tour players candidly, how many rounds they've played on tour where everything was going well for them in terms of driver, irons, wedges, short game, putting, everything. They would probably be honest and say, like, I've had maybe 2 to 3 rounds in the history of my career where everything is going all at once. We got a couple other things we want to hit real quick. Number one, this is just like a hilarious little tidbit. This came up this past week. Dustin Johnson, obviously, he's part of. Did he create this, or what's the story?
I think it's just like a brand collaborate. I don't. They definitely have Four Aces stuff, so I don't know if it's his brand or it's a collab brand with him. But I actually want to tell you real quick. Funny enough, I was just like writing some stuff down and doing a little pod research beforehand, like 20 minutes. And I went down this rabbit hole and I actually bought 2 shirts off of this website. I'm doing a little internal study here. It's called Extracurricular Golf, which I actually kind of think is a cool name. The logo's like, nothing that special or anything. It doesn't really pop, but I got 2 polos plus shipping for 55 beans. And they're actually like they're at prices similar to like the stock market when a company's at a price that you cannot ignore. I can't ignore a $20 polo. Like, are you fucking kidding me? They even charged me 10 beans for shipping. I got 2. And so the retail price on these is $110 a pop. They're selling them right now for 20 to, I saw a couple that were like discounted to $75. Some are $45, but there's some pretty good looking polos for $20 on their website. Like, it is truly, I'm not telling you to go buy it. And it's going to crack me up because I normally wear an XL, but nowadays these fucking shirts fit like they're from Baby Gap. So I'll probably get them and they'll be like skin tight on me. Like, they're probably not built for a person like me. So that's why I almost went like hog wild and bought like 5 or 6 of them. Cause I'm like, this is too good of a deal. But then I was like, I gotta at least try these things on and see if they fit me before I go crazy on this website. But it just goes to show you like how much they mark these things up. Obviously, I bet they're probably paying $20 more or more than $20 in cost on these. Maybe not. But they had shit like, I remember when Dustin Johnson first dropped this brand, he had like a $350 cashmere sweater on that website. Like, who the hell is buying that from, especially from a non-established brand? Like, I get that Dustin Johnson's a great marketing. He's got a great face, great body, pause again. But he's a good looking dude. He's a man rocket, and you put clothing on him, it's probably going to sell. But I just found it absolutely hilarious that they're taking advantage of Black Friday to do 80% off. Like, that's when you know a company's virtually tits up at this point. Like, everything must go, liquidation sale. We need to get rid of all this shit.
Yeah, exactly. Another couple things. Speaking of sales, Topgolf just got sold again. It kind of was always interesting that Callaway bought Topgolf. I feel like Callaway's like got ahead of their skis maybe a little bit and was like, all right, we want to jump into this. What's your honest opinion on, so Topgolf got sold to some private investors essentially. I think Callaway still retains about 40% of the overall business.
They got a pretty good deal out of it. They still retain, like you said, 40%, but then I want to say they got like 450 million cash in their pocket, or maybe more than that, maybe 650 million. Because I think the sale was for 1.1 billion, if I'm not mistaken. So I guess then if they're selling 60%, that would be 700 million dollars.
Yeah. What's your opinion though? Just frank 1-sentence opinion on Topgolf, because I'll give a little bit longer of an opinion to start. Is I feel like, and
I've
maybe
been
it's
talking
just
too much. Is that what it is?
No. I just want
I'm fucking with you.
Your honest take on it is because for me, maybe it's just because I haven't gone in so long. It used to be a thing where it was like, oh, that was like one of my top 3 things to do, where it's like, hey, we want to go out and do something. Let's hit up Topgolf. For some reason, maybe, like I said, it could be very personal. Now I have a kid and a lot of other things going on in my life, but I don't even think about Topgolf anymore. And I feel like the actual golf has gotten so crazy, especially in Denver where I live, that people are either playing real golf, and now there's a million different simulator places to go that have drinks, and you don't have to be outside when the weather's even questionable. But I feel like maybe that's where they still get you, where if you can't go actual golfing, you really want to golf, you really want to just hit balls, but you want to do something a little more fun than the range. Like maybe it's a date scenario, but I don't know. To me, it just seems kind of obsolete at this point. It's like if I want to go practice, I'm going to more of a simulator with all of that real stuff and real balls and in controlled environment versus Top Golf. It just feels like it's lost on me, at least personally.
Yeah, I totally agree. And especially at the price point that they're at, like $65 to $75 an hour for a bay. Like you said, like 7, 8 years ago, we used to hit that shit up all the time. It was electric. But nowadays, like you said, once again, because you gave me the full rundown before, you're like, give me one sentence, because this is my opinion on it, which I do all the time. So I don't blame you. But when the weather's dog shit, I don't want to go to Top Golf in a parka. And then, it's slightly warmer underneath the heaters, but there's really and you can't play legitimate golf like you can on a simulator, which is simulator golf, but it's still legitimate courses. Like you're actually hitting different shots. There's different targets, blah, blah, blah. So yeah, it does feel somewhat obsolete to me. I think it's still like a viable business because they have the bar, they've got other games there and stuff, but obviously the golf is the main attraction there. And I think you really got to market it more to like people trying to get their kids into golf. I think that's a really good place to start. Like bring, 4 10 to 12-year-olds there and let them hit balls over a couple hours. Like that makes it's more fun than going to the driving range, but it's not real. It's not a serious environment. It's kind of that mid-tier level of like, if I'm into golf enough, I'm going to go to the simulator. You know what I mean? It's just like you said, I feel like it is somewhat obsolete at this point. I think it's still a good business, but they got to do some sort of marketing initiative to turn this shit around. Like I wouldn't be surprised if we were started seeing like $10, $20 bays, like just getting people, getting foot traffic, I think is their biggest thing. Cause then once you're there, you're buying drinks, you're buying, I don't know what their revenue breakdown is, but the golf aspect of it always felt a little too expensive to make it to really be able to scale and to have people want to be like, oh yeah, let's go to Top Golf. Like there's actually a Top Golf being built about 15 minutes from me here. And that might be fun to go like on one winter night and go hit balls at Top Golf, but it's not going to be like, you rarely see an executive on their lunch break going to hit balls at Top Golf. Like the dollar per hour just does not make sense from a logistical perspective.
Yeah, it's like too expensive to practice because you don't want it's like a $60 bucket of balls if you're going to go there and practice for an hour. And then if the weather's not great, you would rather go to a simulator, and the drinks and the whole vibe is not over the top enough to be cool enough to where you're like, oh, we'll pass on the simulator and go do this. Like I think group outings, stuff like that, it's a little bit more palpable for Top Golf. If you have a group party of 30 or 40 or work party and you want to do something kind of fun, we've had work parties there before, but yeah, it just feels like it's this weird in between of not real enough golf, but not cheap enough to be relatable to a lot of people. And it just feels like kind of almost a dying brand, but maybe, like I said, I haven't been there in so long. Maybe it's still busy as shit and people still love to go there and take dates there and do all that kind of stuff. But that's the other thing too, is to me, if you don't have a group of 3 to 4, at least 4 people, maybe 6 to fill a bay, if you go with like me and my wife, I would never even consider going to Top Golf as like a date because of how expensive just being there is. And then you obviously eat and drink. It's a, you can go get a nice steak and not hit 10 shitty golf balls for 45 minutes for the same price that you can pay for an hour there and food and drinks there.
Yeah, I think the one big thing they would have to maybe lean into is going full simulator, like the top tracer technology that they have at like Dobson Ranch and all these new driving ranges. I think if you start giving actual like swing path metrics, and I don't know if that's scalable because that's going to cost them a metric shit ton of money per Top Golf location. Like that would be probably a $15-20 million investment every location. So I don't know if they would do that or not, but I think that would be the biggest way for them to get back into being like somewhat viable. Like I can go to this range over here 10 minutes away, buy an $18 bucket of like 80 balls, which don't get me wrong, that's relatively expensive for 80 balls, but it's full on top tracer technology. It doesn't give me my path, but it gives you distance, it gives you launch, it gives you ball speed, it gives you shit like that where it actually, you feel like you're getting more bang for your buck. Not, why am I hitting balls for $65 an hour here? Like,
Yeah. All right, we've got a couple more ins and outs of the Live Tour and the PGA Tour. So as I mentioned in the intro, Henrik Stenson will be returning, the Iceman, to the DP World Tour. Victor Perez will be heading to the Live Tour. And the Live Tour, obviously, we talked about, announced that they're going to be 72 holes. So Live, maybe they'll change the tour name. You never know, because LIV 54. We'll see if they do that or not.
Let's see what 72 in Roman numerals is.
And while you're looking that up, Anthony Kim, Live player, also playing pretty well right now in Saudi Arabia. He is shot a bogey 365, 11 under for the event, and second place at the PIF Saudi Invitational. For the third tournament in a row, he has shot his lowest 36 hole score since returning to the game. So maybe AK will be a little bit more
competitive
on the Live Tour next year.
I actually think I think he got relegated. I think he's no longer, I don't think he has Live status anymore.
Oh no, he's going to have to work back from the relegation.
I think that's what he's doing right now. I think he's trying to qualify back for the Live Tour. Roman numerals for 72 is LXXII. So I don't think that quite rolls off the tongue like LIV. I don't know if they're going to be able to change their tour to that, but yes, I think it'll be really cool. First of all, to see Henrik Stenson back on the DP World Tour. He's like a DP World Tour legend, capped off with winning a Open championship. I was going to say British Open, but I've turned over a new leaf. He's won the Open. He's won the race to Dubai. He's one of the DP World Tour legends. So I think it'll be cool to see him. I would love to see Lee Westwood, Ian Poulter, all those guys back on the DP World Tour. I just don't know if they're going to make the jump back at any point or not. But Anthony Kim, like, talk about a cool story. Like, and just the fact that he still has the talent. I know he's been grinding for 2 years. He was out shooting in the fucking 80s on the Live Tour, like, and just stuck with it. I would have probably quit after that. I'd have been like, why did I ever come back? And he just has this drive to improve, which is awesome. And to see him go shoot those low numbers and be in contention to get like a W, that could be like a resurgence. Like, tell me you wouldn't tune in to watch that.
No, I would 100%. He was one of my favorites growing up as a kid, and seeing him thinking he's going to be the next Tiger Woods, which we've now said a million times.
I wanted one of those belt buckles that do you remember I remember being like 16 and being like, I want that white belt like AK with a massive like rhinestone fucking belt buckle with my initials in it, because that would just be the most electric shit ever. It never came to fruition, and thank God it didn't. But I actually think, what was it, 59 belts? 59 belts back in the day fucking slapped. Those things were sick. And they were like $250. I never had the nuts to put a whole paycheck from my cart kid days on a belt, but I was pretty close a few times.
I had thought about it. All right, we're going to wrap this pod up with a special WTF Wednesday, but it's Thursday, so it's WTF Thursday. My WTF Thursday and Wednesday was basically my entire day yesterday. So my nanny was headed over to my house. She got her car sandwiched by somebody in a truck behind her, and then she ended up hitting the person in front of her. The guy behind her I had to go. I went and met her, so I took my son, and I had traded my wife cars for the day. I was going to take her car to get an oil change, get in my wife's car, and this is just every female ever, 0 gas in it. Knew that, so I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to go fill this car up with gas. There was also no car seat in our car, so I had to go find the car seat from one of our other cars, put it in there, take him to meet her. And this guy was a complete wreck. He had just bought this work truck, which was probably a 1980 Ford with like it had a bunch of toolboxes in the back. It was like a big built up truck in the back. His front bumper is fucked. I'm like helping him take his front bumper off. He's asking me to help him. I'm like on the ground ripping this. We're trying to rip this bumper off because it's dragging on the fucking tire. He's arguing with our nanny about not wanting to give his insurance the whole time because he doesn't want his insurance rate to go up. He wants to like pay her payments to fix her car. And I was like, buddy, I'm telling you, you don't want to do that because we just got my wife's Atlas, same car. They have the same car fixed, and it was 20 to 30K for not minimal damage. I mean, she got hit pretty hard, but it's not like they had to replace 3 doors and windows and this and that. It was just the back
you
and the
might as well
front.
just
Like,
buy her a new car at that point.
exactly. I was like, buddy, you don't want to do that. And he was just you could tell he's having a shit day. And I felt it, but I was like, dude, you can't fuck someone else just because you're in a tough spot right now. So had to go pick her up. That's when I called Mitchell. We moved the pod. And then I got back home and she was going to take the kids to this dinosaur exhibit. She couldn't, she opened the back of her car because she forgot or, whatever. And then it wouldn't shut. So I'm in the back of her car. Fucking, I took this piece out of the entire bumper and I'm like bending it with a fucking wrench to try to get the car to like the hatch to close again. Finally got the hatch closed. I felt pretty good about myself because I'm not very handy.
Just a
but I
blue
ended
collar
up,
dude. Just blue collar shit.
I ended up taking off one bumper and then fucking bending her little latch enough to where we could get the back of her car shut. Felt pretty good about the day, but my whole day was quite literally derailed.
Oh shit. That's a lot more rough than my WTF Thursday. I discovered this video game. It's not even a video game. This game called Balls. And I found it on the airplane flying a couple months ago. And I was like, God, I like this game. So I tried to go play it again when we were flying back from Denver a couple weeks ago. It wasn't there anymore. I'm like, what the fuck? So I think they took the game off of, them off of the United, which sucks ass. But then I'm like, I wonder if it's like basically Snake. If I had to say, like, I don't really know how to put it, but you just bounce balls off of these blocks and then you get more balls and then you try to eliminate these blocks before you run out of space. But I downloaded it to my phone and I've played so many games of balls, like, holy shit. It has a stranglehold on my day. I probably played like 12 games before this. The other night, the first day I downloaded it, I laid in bed for 2 hours playing balls. Like, I didn't go to bed until 1 a.m. because I was just playing this game, trying to beat my high score. So I've always kind of prided myself as like a take it or leave it on video games. Like Missy plays Candy Crush and a few other like other games on her phone very casually. Like we'll play for like 10, 15 minutes and then just put it away. But knowing me and my personality, I'm playing this shit for an hour and a half. Like I'm going to go play some more balls after this before I go to the gym. It's got a complete stranglehold on my day to the point where last night when I was laying in bed, I could see the balls like in my eyelids flashing across the screen going back and forth. And I need to figure out, like, I almost probably need to delete it at this point. I've only had it for like 4 days.
Dude, that's so funny. I don't know why I have such a stigma on people that play phone games, but I do.
I know. I feel like such an idiot. Like I'm like tilting the screen when I want a ball to go over there. Like I'm like, get over there, even though it has no effect on which way the ball goes. I'm like, I catch myself and I'm like looking at my screen like this and like tilting the phone. I'm much too invested in this at this point.
Too invested. Gotta keep it rolling. Well, that wraps it up for us this week on Big Drive Energy. We'll be back next week, ideally Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We'll do a special Thanksgiving episode. We'll figure something out to spice it up a little bit, but we're getting closer to the end of the year, the start of the PGA Tour season in 2026. The match is Black Friday, right? Isn't that correct? Isn't there a match on Black Friday that we can maybe preview, talk about the swings a little bit? We'll do a whole Thanksgiving episode next week on Wednesday. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy NFL. Enjoy your family. If you're doing Thanksgiving a little early, doing it this weekend, enjoy your family. Enjoy the holiday times. I know we do. We'll be back to talk to you about some more golf and football and Denver sports and whatever else we want to talk about next week on Wednesday. Have a great weekend. Peace.
Peace.